Hello, creepy crawlies, and welcome back to Ice Cream Queens. We have a frightfully fun episode planned for you tonight. And first of all, I would like to take a moment and bring in my co hosts. So bear with me. I'm trying to get there. Hey, Kat.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great.
Excellent.
And I'm bringing in Lauren now. Hey, Lauren.
Hello.
Y'all bear with me. Normally, Geek Gumshoe is behind the scenes and working all of the extra, but tonight he is away and having some technical difficulties. So that's kind of following on me and our special host this evening. I'm going to bring in the prophet of pop culture. Bum, bum, bum.
Hi.
Hey there, guys and gals, friends and foes. Glad to
crawlies.
be here with you, DL.
Yeah.
And I can help operate behind the scenes. So you just tell me what to push, and I'll push it.
All right.
Push it real good.
Okay, so I'm just going to basically, I am so out of it. It's like, I got to work behind the scenes. I got to work in front of the scenes. I'm like, I cannot walk and chew gum, much less do multiple things at once. So plan on chaos.
Okay, well,
ensue.
I'm going to interrupt you then. Chaos.
Go right ahead. Chaos.
I actually have a thing to show everyone. I got a new cool thing. And y'all are my horror hotties. You too, John. My horror hotties.
That's right.
This last week was my husband and mine's 5-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
And he got thank you. And we stick by the whole anniversary like rules. There's specific things you buy each year of a theme. This year was wood. So he got me a lamp.
Oh, that is glorious.
And it's made of wood.
Oh, wow.
All right, I have to know where that came from. Do you know where he got it from?
I have not a clue, but I'm pretty sure it's probably off Etsy somewhere. It feels like an Etsy kind of thing. But I'll ask him, and I will send you a link.
Interesting. I was actually looking.
Lauren, hold that up again.
Ooh, hang on, I gotta turn it back on now. Whoa.
And we're gonna put you right there. Oh, look at that.
So that is the puzzle box from Hellraiser. Yeah, I knew it was. It's been a long day. Glorious. I was actually looking at a chandelier piece that was the same design, and when it lit up, it would cast all of these incredible shadows. But I did not get that.
Sounds glorious, though.
It was. So, Kat, did you do anything fun this weekend?
I did a little something. I went out last night, or I guess it was like yesterday afternoon, and I did a haunted tour, and it was in Holly Springs, Mississippi.
Oh,
but it was just like a little short walk-in tour, and they just kind of told about the stories of things that, you know, possibly could or did or didn't happen in the town square. So I don't know. It was something to do. It's kind of Halloween for the weekend.
I had a really fun weekend. I know, Lauren, you probably have a lot to share that you might have done with your anniversary. I'm just going to go ahead and throw out. I went to Zubu. My Halloween, which is the week of Halloween, I celebrate all month long, but my Halloween starts very, very early. So we did Zubu, which is a Memphis tradition where I think a lot of local zoos do something very similar where they have like a Halloween activity associated around the zoo, and it's a fundraising activity and a lot of fun. So we did that. And then last night, I finally got to see Amigo the Devil live, and I was so excited. He was at Growlers. I have been dying to see him since pre-COVID, one of my favorite musicians, and highly recommend if you ever get a chance to see him. Incredible. But his music is it's considered murder folk.
Oh,
ever heard of that? Yeah.
No, but now I'm interested.
Yeah,
it's all about
like fun.
Oh yeah, it's all about serial killers, and it's all about. He has a song called Dahmer Does Hollywood. There is one called Edward Temper, which is about Ed Kemper. But yeah, so but yeah, it's like incredible musician. I would recommend very highly. So Lauren, did you do anything fun for your anniversary?
Jumping on your music talk. Sorry, I got super excited. You're talking about music and they make songs about serial killers. I've been digging Ice9 Kills new album that came out. Because I don't know if you know the first one that came out, and they were all based off of horror movies. Every single song was a different horror movie. They had a second album come out a couple days ago, and I have just been rocking out to it. It's a lot heavier. It's a lot heavier in most of it. Every once in a while, like the Child's Play one will come in, and like all of a sudden, it's like a little commercial jingle, and it sounds like you'd be watching something from Toys R Us, but. It's super good. So check that out too. We went to somewhere schmancy for dinner. That's about all.
Well, I saw your Get Ready TikTok.
Yes, I made a Get Ready TikTok, and everyone was like, "Happy anniversary!" And I was like, "Woo!" And apparently, I share anniversaries with like 3 of my followers on there, so that was cool. And we went to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse because that was the first restaurant we went to as a married couple, like the day after our wedding. So we're every 5 years, we're just going to go back there.
Aw. I don't know. Okay. So speaking of anniversaries and weddings, my wedding anniversary was very recent. And, my husband and I, used to go to the Coletta's on Summer Avenue, which was the original Coletta's Italian, restaurant here. Mm-hmm. And I think it was out on maybe on our 10th anniversary, we found out that it burned to the ground, like nothing left. And I'm like, I don't know how to feel about that. You know, what do you do when this is the place that he proposed at? And I mean, it's just, yeah. And it burned to the ground. Got nothing. Okay.
Yeah. No, the place where my husband and I met doesn't exist anymore either. So it's just one of those, like, we go to a place similar to it and be like, oh, yes, we met at a place like this. And
okay, so Johnny, do you do anything special for Halloween, Hallow the season? I know you do ghost tours, and I imagine that gets very busy.
Yes. So I actually manage Nightly Spirits ghost tours in Nashville. And we do ghost tours 7 days a week, all year long. Wow. It's not just during October. And we do a walking tour like Kat was describing, except it's about a 2.5 hour walking tour around downtown Nashville, going from bar to bar. And while people enjoy adult beverages, we tell them the haunted stories of that building and the surrounding buildings. And it's really cool. I've been doing it for 2.5 years now. And in the time that I've been doing it, I've been touched, pushed, grabbed, and scratched, and not by desperate women looking for a date. I will tell everyone watching, I don't know what is out there, but every story you've ever heard in your entire life is absolutely true. Now, during this month, I got hired to additionally do 48 performances of my haunted magic show. So it's magic and mentalism that blurs the line between reality and fiction. You don't quite know what's really real or what's a trick. And that was with this company out of Las Vegas. They rented out an event center out in the woods, out like an old roadhouse. And in between my performance pieces, they're serving 4 rounds of designer cocktails created for the theme. Now, I was supposed to be out there doing that tonight. However, there were some issues with the ATF.
Dang ATF getting in the way. Shut the party down.
So they shut our party down, which is kind of a blessing in disguise, because I've also had an unbelievably bad sinus infection this week, and
Yeah,
I'm
those are the worst.
on antibiotics, and I needed a couple of days to really just rest, and so it worked out for the best. But as we are going live right now, I've got two ghost tour guides that are out in the field that may or may not call me to need my help. So
Speaking of calling people, we have guests.
We do.
Yes,
We
you
have
do.
guests. And let me tell you, I'm just going to say that was the perfect lead in to what our topic is. We have with us tonight Tanya and Stephen from Historical Haunts here in Memphis, who I'm going to go ahead and bring them in, but Historical Haunts is the premier haunted ghost tour. If you want to do a paranormal investigation, these are the people you call. Hey, Stephen. Hey, Tanya. How are y'all?
Good.
Hey.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Great.
ditto.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
thank you for joining us.
You introduced us just like we wrote it. That's perfect.
We'll pay you
Now-
later.
I'll be honest with you. I have been on I've been on a couple of the ghost tours. As mentioned, I think probably in a previous episode, Geek Gumshoe actually was a tour guide for you guys for a while.
One of the
And I'm,
best.
yeah.
We miss him.
Well, hopefully he can come back soon. And he is, we've also been on several of the paranormal investigations, and we have great memories, great stories. You guys are fantastic. So I think this is going to be an interesting show just to really talk about war stories and what it's all about. And I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. I'm the skeptic. I think I'm the skeptic of the group. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm the skeptic.
She's like, I just don't. I don't.
Well, and I think, you have to approach it with a degree of skepticism. And we do as well. We're looking to document things. And there's a big difference between a ghost story. So many people have a great story, but is it evidence? Is it something that you can record or reproduce or something like that? That's kind of what we strive for. Stories are easy, but to really have an experience you can document, then you have to go, well, do I believe it? Not believe it? It's hard to be skeptical when you watched it happen. Then you've got to really figure out, well, gosh, what do I do now?
Yes, definitely.
Hey, Johnny, I'm going to get you to help with the comments because I am the world's worst at that. But we already have a few comments. Can we run through those real quick? And because I did see Karen Knight wants to know, what is ATF? Kat, I'm going to throw that one at you.
The ATF, the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, baby. They don't want you having all
I
that.
as well.
The
Karen,
alcohol
I did not
part
know.
of the
I didn't know what that meant either. So I'm glad that Karen asked because I did not want to be the
And-
one who's like, what the heck is ATF?
let
the
me just say,
tobacco thing. It's
John.
like
and let me just say, when we showed up Friday night, they were already there. 12 cars with, SUVs with the sirens waiting for us to arrive.
Oh, it was like a true
Super
bust.
Fun.
Kind of.
Oh,
party
how
you're
I
hosting.
I think they probably thought something else was going to happen out in those woods and not what you explained it as.
Maybe. I don't know.
Was there any banjo music? Is that what you were there? What would bring them out?
Good
I mean,
sign.
Hey, we're in Middle Tennessee. There's always banjo music.
We're in Memphis.
That's
There's
true.
banjo music next door.
There's a crop
All
of
right.
people
Girl.
moving into Tennessee from, that aren't.
all right.
I'm not gonna
that
lie.
explains it.
I
Not a
love
party
banjo
until the
music.
cops get called.
That's it.
Or the ATF.
ATF. I learned something new tonight.
That's
Thanks
even
for that.
better.
Well,
you
obviously,
didn't know what ATF? What were you thinking was all-time fart, or what were you thinking? Did you not know?
Literally,
or-
I'm like, what could that be?
oh
like,
my
I don't
God.
know.
We should have made a game of it. Everybody try to put it in their own anagram.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Make a
something
game of
much more interesting, but no.
Alien terrestrial
Yeah.
There you
falcon.
go. There's always going to be firearms, so they're always up there.
I'm
Now,
kind of
as
going the
people-
alien route as well, but whatever.
as people can see, we have some comments coming in, and this is an interactive
Hi,
show, and we welcome you to chat with us, throw us a comment. If you're really good, we might send you a link and have you jump in with us. Probably not tonight, but hey. So with that said, we do have an audience participation question. And my question for the group is, what is your favorite or least favorite ghost hunting show and why? So share that in the comments. And you know what? Let's start with Stephen and just kind of go round table and let's talk about what you like and what you don't like.
Favorite, I'm going to go Ghost Hunters, one of the originals. I think they have a good approach. Least favorite, Ghost Adventures. Too much body oil and
is that Zach
steroids
Baggins?
Yes.
Douchebag Baggins? Okay.
Oh, that kind of show.
I
yes.
don't like him. I'm sorry, Johnny. I don't like him at all. I hate
really
him.
Good TV, but it's not really how you investigate. So people, come to some of our events and it's like they want to tear their shirt off and challenge everybody. Come on, Ghost.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah, come at me, bro. But it's like, dude, that's TV. That's not like really what you do. If you were going, we tell people it's like you're going to a cocktail party, like ghost hunts. Yeah, a ghost hunt's like a cocktail party. You may not know everybody, so you're trying to introduce yourself and interact. But you wouldn't just go up to somebody and go, dude, I'm way bigger than you are. And, talk to me.
So
slap me now.
Stephen,
I'm pretty, aren't I?
True story, Stephen. On one of my ghost tours, we had a woman in one of the venues, and I'm telling the story about Mary, this prostitute who committed suicide in the building and has famously haunted the building. And this woman on the tour decides to call Mary the B word. And
why would you do
20
that?
minutes later, after she leaves, on her left arm is a bite mark.
Oh,
and
Mary was mad.
Don't challenge those spirits.
No, so we tell people if you wouldn't do it like person to person at a party, don't say it to a spirit. Because if we're out there attempting to communicate with people we think that have passed or maybe you're at a higher vibration, why would you lead with something like that? It just doesn't make sense to me. It's not going to endure them to communicate with you.
Well, I think Willow just commented that Ghost Adventures is one of the best shows. And there's a separation. There's a separation between, like, as paranormal investigators, there's a separation between a show that we are like cringe factor for us versus entertainment. If you like entertainment, Ghost Adventures is going to entertain you. But if you want something that's realistic and that's, it's same that with every show. So I can see how people like it. I can. It's entertaining.
It's good TV. It's very entertaining. But
so Willow, you're not. I mean, everybody loves it. It's weird. We do when we're on our tours. Yeah, I don't either. We're on our tours. We're like, who likes Ghost Adventures? Who likes Ghost Hunters? And the ones that are like Ghost Adventures, we're like, there's the exit. See you later.
I detest Ghost Adventures. I absolutely cannot stand that show. And I cannot stand it because of Zach Baggins. It's like, I just want to like shove him in a hole and throw dirt on it. Is that bad?
Well, you're going to be really upset, DL, because our brand new sponsor is Ghost Adventures, starring Zach.
And we love you.
We love you a lot, Zach Baggins.
It's so sexy when you oil yourself up and everything. It's hot. I mean, even if a ghost came at him, it's going to slide off, right? Like
it's
maybe
just
it's
his thing. Move. I mean, it's his shtick.
Tanya, let's do that. You oil me up, and I'll oil you up, and we'll be safer.
But that did not work last time.
I know. Well, last time we tried the honey.
We got that off-brand oil that was.
Yeah, I know. It was like way too petroleum. It's like the
It's
Exxon Valdez.
Did you get Crisco? I'm not sure.
Don't use the minty oil. It burns.
You ain't good enough for the Crisco, sweetie.
I asked for lavender. He came home with a big tub of lard.
I thought you said lavender. Yeah.
Lard tub.
Blew it again.
Lard tub of lard, whatever.
Anything with a shaky camera. You like or don't like any? No, I know you. You don't like anything with a shaky camera. No. Wow. I like the one. Okay, so I don't like specific shows. I like specific people from the shows. Like, I always had a soft spot for Chip Coffey.
Mm-hmm.
I love him, and anything he was in, like, I would be very skeptical because it would be very hokey in the beginning, and then he comes in and he's just like, yeah, no, I'm going to go over this way and do my own thing now. And they're like, well, that wasn't the story we were going with, but okay. And they just kind of follow him along.
Chip's
Well,
I
the
really
real
like
going off the
him.
rails.
Chip is like the paranormal world's Dolly Parton. Okay,
I love him.
Everybody loves Chip. I mean,
Yeah.
he's just so pleasant, and I think that's why he's such a good psychic. He's a good communicator, you know. So, but
I'm sorry. Ghost Adventures brought to you by Affliction Clothing and Axe Body Spray.
Ooh, nice, yeah. But yeah, I love Chip Coffee.
Oh yeah, that
Chip is
guy.
great.
Sorry, now all I'm imagining is someone walking around with an Axe body spray, like, we're going to catch, like, the shape of them, spraying it in the air, trying to catch the shape of the ghosts.
Okay, so the one that I really like, I am absolutely addicted to. It's called Dead Files, and there is a psychic and a retired detective that comes in, and they supposedly do not cross paths during the investigation. She goes in and does her thing, and then he does research and takes it from the detective police investigation, and it's amazing how the stories line up. That's been probably one of my absolute favorites.
I've watched that. That's a very good show. They're both really good personalities too. It's very entertaining.
One of
That's
the
my
shows
least
that I'm
favorite.
digging, one of the shows I dig is called Paranormal 911, and it's all about police emergency calls that end up involving the paranormal. It's pretty cool.
I haven't seen that. Okay,
Send me a link to that.
I will be looking for that one.
Someone link it in the comments so we can go back and click it later.
Only a total doofus would still wear Axe.
Hi, I'm that
doofus. I don't doubt that, Eli. I do not doubt that.
Yeah, he's not lying. He's telling the absolute truth.
I never
why
had a
Axe
problem with Axe.
It smells good.
Same.
If you're 13,
What?
I mean,
That's not true. Come on now.
Okay,
You know-
Edward Cullen walking by smelling like Axe body spray is fine with me.
I'm okay with that as well.
I don't like Twilight either.
Vampires are not. Thank you. Yeah, vampires.
They don't
are not
sparkle.
sparkly. They do not sparkle.
I'm not
I
If
sparkly
you know where the
vampire
lore
person.
comes from, they do, but let's do that on another show. My favorite show that I like or used to, it's not on the air anymore, was Most Haunted. And it was that show, Stephen, can you put your claw
What?
down again?
Okay,
We don't
sorry.
expose the claw in public. It's embarrassing.
What? I
It's
missed
got
the
a little
claw.
gimpy arm that looks like a claw. It comes out every now and then. It's very embarrassing. See, it's just disturbing.
Okay, it's okay.
He's got a
Evidently, I'm
little
not supposed to bring out the
prosthetic.
chickens.
Okay, nice.
I'm like, all I had was my little spider. But the Most Haunted was, I think it was filmed in like somewhere in England, London, and it was a bunch of, I don't know. It was brilliant show. I miss Most Haunted. It was a fun show.
So
Okay,
I
so-
think Kat was trying to say that Donna or Dale, your favorite TV show was her least favorite one.
You don't
Did I
like the
catch
Dead
that?
Files?
Yeah, that's my
Oh.
least favorite. I have no problem with the guy who's the investigator, and
On Hulu.
I get really hung up on the psychic side of her because to me
Her faces.
her faces
Yeah.
and my thing is for a good psychic, there's so much vagueness going on. It's somebody really bad was in, you're just like, okay, well, I get to where I guess I like my psychics to be a lot more specific than just a really bad thing happened in this space. So that part of it just totally loses it for me. But
You don't like
I
it when,
do.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I said you don't like it when they're just like could be a man or a woman and they're wearing a left shoe and it's like super vague.
I guess I guess it doesn't catch me right there. I kind of like, it's great for TV entertainment, but when it comes to, I don't know, it makes a good show for some people, but I have a really difficult time buying it, and that they don't feed off each other and that type of thing. But I guess mine would be like the Holzer Files. I like that one. I guess they do bring in a psychic for that one, but the stories and the stuff that they try to come in with that one I do like. I don't know why, I'm just drawn to that one. But I mean, I do like the police element in the one that Donna likes, but I have a hard time with the psychic element on that one. I don't know. It just doesn't, it's too much. I don't know.
I feel, yeah. That's how I feel about half the time when people read tarot cards and they're very vague with it, and they're just like, so there's this thing that happened to you that still bothers you to this day. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, there's something that happened to everyone that still bothers them to this day. I feel the same way when people are really extra vague around tarot.
Yeah.
So, as a professional magician for 40 years, I have dealt in deception and in manipulation. And I can tell you that the vagaries are the easiest way to just suck someone in.
John, is that your Tinder profile? What you just said?
Yes. Grindr.
It is.
Grindr. Is that your Grindr?
Swiping. Yeah.
Because you're just like, it's the best way, the deceptory and 40 years of deceiving and
The
manipulating.
Decepticon.
That's way
By the way, I
better,
think
lady.
this is the first episode that we've ever had that Johnny's been on. Hold on,
I know.
you're in for a
I
ride.
like it. It's fun.
It's fine.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first time he's ever been on ours. He reads tarot card.
I guess we should feel honored.
The heck you did! Holy crap!
And somebody had pointed out that Most Haunted was a good show until it was proven fake. Yeah, I never said it was real. I just said it was entertaining. They were hilarious.
There was a show that I absolutely loved to watch, but I cannot recall the name of it. But one of the things that I really loved about it is the producers had this fun way of kind of roping in the realistic aspects of what was going on. Like, for instance, there was an episode that we were watching, and this woman was talking about all of these things that were happening in her house. But every time you saw her, she had a glass of wine. She had a glass of wine in her hand. And there was like a glass of wine and a bottle of wine sitting on the bathtub and a glass of wine. It's like there was wine all through this episode. And I'm like, hey, I kind of wonder if they're trying to imply something else here. Yeah. But there were a couple of episodes that there was a very specific show. And I really wish, if anybody knows what this show was, I can't go. That's all I have. Is that woman in the bathtub, woman everywhere. She had wine with her. I mean, she was drunk the entire time is what I think they were trying to say. But it was...
Was it a Vinogeist? Was it the ghost that goes and leaves wine in various places?
You know what? I would like that haunting. I'm good with that.
Yes, but I like that haunting, but I get stuck with the Fondlegeist.
Well,
somehow, but you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Stephen and I have known each other for many, 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 many years now. I think we met around 2010 or maybe even a little before that. And ever since I met him, I've been haunted by this Fondlegeist. And it sometimes just seems like when only he's around, I don't know, maybe. So where there's like a little pinch on the butt or like a little tug on the hair. And it's like, oh, that's just the Fondlegeist.
But you see that on
Don't
TV.
pay attention.
It's it always happens. That little pull on the hair, little pat on
Little
the popo. Yeah, you
tweak
see that.
here and there. And I'm like, what is that? And he's like, don't pay attention. That's the Fondlegeist. I'm like, what? Okay.
Well, if you spoke German, you'd know more about it. It's just I try to keep it simple for you.
I try to banish it, and it just keeps coming back.
Hello, Joe Dog.
Oh my goodness, I don't know what's happening, but DL Joe Dog McKeel is joining us, and he is the organizer of HoloCon in Dalton this coming weekend, where I will be a performer and panelist representing the network.
Welcome.
Joe Dog and I go way back. We actually used to do radio shows together, Joe Dog and I. So
really?
Holy cow.
Well, I guess you could say she has a spirit problem.
I don't know where you get that from.
Oh my goodness.
Tanya, my former co-host, Joe Dog McKeel. Oh man, I miss you, buddy.
He was with us when we went down to Chattanooga, right? It was
Right.
Hills Bar and Dam.
The Hills Bar and Dam, went down and investigated down there with him and go way back with Joe Dog. So that's really cool you're working with him, John. Glad to see he's still
Joe and I have been
HoloCon
friends for years, and I helped them out at HoloCon, and super excited to be there this weekend.
That's good that you're going forward with the con, because I mean we're all just bored looking for stuff to do, and I think that's great you're moving forward, because so many cons didn't have a convention last year or whatever. Even this year a lot of them dropped out, so good for you guys. I think you'll have a huge turnout.
You Scream Queen ladies need to do your own con. But
You know
a little
what?
horror con here in Memphis. We know some people.
We know some people. We need to get together and talk all of our people. Yeah.
Yeah, how fun would that be?
It would go. There's a bunch of horror people and actors and things here.
It's something Memphis has never had, as far as I know, that they've never had like a horror con or something like that here. So it's just, Lauren's like me.
Well, Lauren knows that this topic has actually come up. So
okay.
She knows. Yeah.
And I guess I don't want to like blow the surprise here, but 2022, the Nashville Full Moon Horror and Tattoo Convention.
Yes.
Ooh. Call me.
We'll be.
We're going. We're doing it. We are doing it.
We're gonna be there. The Back of the Cereal Box Network will be there.
Oh, that's amazing.
I want to go do your tour in Nashville too. That one's so.
I want to go do everyone's tour because this. I have never actually been to any sort of
tours are fun.
Tour like that. Well, okay, someone walked me through Elmwood Cemetery once and kind of told me about the tombstones and stuff, but he was also wanting pictures of my feet at the time. So,
yeah, that's creepy.
Yes.
Look, he had to pay the bills, I guess.
Yeah.
So let me ask, we're kind of, we've been talking and kind of skirting the subject, but you guys have an incredible background in ghost hunting, and you've actually sent us some EVPs. And so I would love to hear a little bit about what you guys have run across and, what your experiences have been.
Okay. You want to start?
Do you want, I'll start, and or you can start, and then I'll lead into one of the EVPs if you want.
No, you start.
No, hold on, wait.
No,
we
you're
gotta
prettier.
do a housekeeping thing right here. DL. So
Yes.
I'm looking at the files.
Yes.
And the one I can't read what this one is.
Thank you.
THAN. Is that the first one? Are they in order?
I see one that says thank you. MNH.
Oh, those
That's
files.
a good one. That's a good one. That's recent.
Play it.
Play it. Okay,
Get
play
who you
it.
are. Just play it.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna play
that's a good
it,
one that
and you
Steven-
guys.
I'm going to set that one up. So
Yeah,
that's at a historical house here locally. I don't want to say which one right now, but it's in one of the museum type of old restored Victorians. And we get into a bunch of these places because we have a good reputation with them, that we don't release the names, and we work with the people, because not everybody wants to be a haunted place. So we are very discreet. But beautiful old house, and some of the best EVPs that we've ever got is when we're just in a room and we're just talking about the place, like, oh, this is a beautiful home, or do you like to have people come visit, and just really, like, not. Sometimes you watch TV and it's like an interrogation. It's like, who's here? How many are you? Are you a man or woman? Did you die here? Did you work here? What, it's like, God, take a breath and let them answer. So a lot of times our best ones is we're talking to each other or about it. So this one, I think you'll hear me in part of it's just saying something like that, like, you have a beautiful house. Do you like us to come and visit? Then at the very end, you'll hear this woman's voice say, thank you. And this is through a spirit box. This is through
It's a beautiful home. Do you like it when people come to visit and admire this house?
It sounded like thank you.
Could you hear it at the end?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
I can tell what house it is too, just by that little clip.
now hush.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Oh, I wasn't
She's
paying
like, I'm not
attention.
saying.
Why don't you set up the next one, the I'm Still Alive one?
If John, do you have the I'm Still Alive one there?
It should be like 2 down from that. I got it. Do you want to set that one up, or do you want me to just go ahead and play it?
So no, I'll go ahead and set that one up. This is one when Stephen and I first met. Stephen and I, a little quick snippet on how we actually met and started, working and investigating together. We both lived on the same street in Huntington Beach, California, and never knew each other. We met here when we moved here, almost like the same year we transplanted here, and we met in a paranormal meetup group in Memphis, Tennessee. A bunch of nerds sitting around a table talking ghosts, and the rest is history. We've been paranormal. We've been investigating together ever since, and have done a lot of podcasts and web series, and throughout all of that was encouraged by Kalila Smith, the founder of the Haunted History Tours in New Orleans, to run our own tours. She's like, you're already doing it through one of the Victorian mansions here in town. And so that's, the rest is history. We, I have 20 something plus years of investigating, each of us on our own. So we've been doing this, for a long time. So it's just a really cool kind of story how we met. But we were in this not the same house that this one that we just got, but near this house, we were doing an investigation, and it was our first time there. And I was trying to make a deal with the ghosts, and it's a long story why. We were competing against another paranormal group at the time, so I wanted the ghost to give us more evidence than them. I mean, it's logical. And you're going to hear in the clip something about me explaining to Stephen, like, I'm trying to make a deal with the ghost. And he's like, as usual, going, like whatever she says. But in there's a whisper, 3 syllables. And it's kind of changed how we speak about ghosts from that point on. And if you want to play that one.
Okay.
Make deals with the ghosts.
Well, also,
if you want to play it again, if you can turn it up. I'm
One more
sure.
time, yeah.
Listen at the end for the whispered, I'm still alive.
Can you turn it up, Johnny?
No.
Deals with the ghosts.
well, also,
Oh, I mean, it was
Yeah.
clear. I heard that clear as day.
And that's what we consider, at least in our paranormal group, we, do Class A, Class B, and Class C EVPs, and that's one of our Quality A Class EVPs. And the whole Class A is that we all hear it. We all agree that it's not us, that it wasn't, that it was a disembodied voice, that none of us heard it there, and we all agree on what it says. And if from that point on it says I'm still alive, we just kind of view them as differently living now.
Yes, we're being PC now. So
we're like, we understand you're still alive, and we appreciate you letting us know that. And we believe that might have been Elliot, was his name. So we'll give you a little hint there.
Oh, wow. Oh.
but it did change us, because it's like, well, wait a minute, if we are here trying to communicate and we have other evidence, then their dead sounds so final.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, they just transitioned, the energy changes, and that's why we're trying to communicate with them. They're still there. So we did change, and also we changed from past tense a lot of times to present tense. Are you,
Sounds
do you,
awesome.
not did you, and things like that. So I think it did change some of our attitudes, the way that we communicate.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
here's a question: with changing your mindset and also the way that you ask questions versus in present tense versus past tense, did you find that opened up that line of communication a little bit more?
I think so. When you just are talking the way we're talking, or people in your kitchen are talking, or when you have people over, or I always use the cocktail party thing, where you're gently introducing yourself, you're being a good listener, all those social things that we do in life, in IRL. Why wouldn't we do that? When we're on investigation with the same, if we think we're going to communicate with a sentient, not living, I'm not trying to get the right word, but an energetic presence in real time, then why wouldn't we have the same courtesies we'd have in society? And if they're in a previous society, we need more. Like there's one place we go from the 1800s, and the women can go into the bedroom of the woman who passed away, and they can get activity. If the men go over the threshold, it stops. And we've been going here for years, because in those periods, a strange man would not be in her personal bedroom. So
That's interesting.
Yeah, we've tested it. I mean, with on tours, and people we know and people we don't know, just step over the threshold, and the ladies all have a big time, and the boys are all out in the hallway, going outside for a smoke, because we can't be in there.
It's true. And to go along with what Stephen said, and even to kind of piggyback on some other things here, Kat was talking about psychics. Like you're like me, Kat, like you want that psychic to know stuff. And we actually have a psychic medium that is now part of our team. And boy, she has me floored. She has done some pretty incredible stuff. She works in a different way than a lot of them do. And we have her come in, and just recently she came into the one that we got the thank you in. And she walked around separate of us. She wrote notes down. And one of the notes were, going along with what Stephen said and what was proper in the time, the house was built in 1852. So that was kind of the Victorian era. There was a full-length mirror in front of one of the women that her bedroom, in front of her bed. And she told the psychic, I don't like that mirror there. that mirror is indecent and improper. We would have never had a mirror in front of our bed. And so we, through our psychic medium, we moved the mirror, and she's okay. But she full out was like, hey, you can hear me, tell them to move that mirror. And it was pretty neat. It was pretty neat that we got that interaction. We were able to help her out, be happy. We don't want her like throwing things through the house or whatever. So going along with that, you got to kind of, if you work in a museum, kind of know what you're placing and where you're placing it. But yeah, it's pretty neat.
And Kat, you're right. There are some that are like super broad. We do work with a lot of the psychics and mediums. We have a gentleman from Texas that we work with, and Keelela Smith and Sid Patrick, some other folks in New Orleans, as well as our local people. And the ones that we tend to work with are much more specific. They're not the, okay, it's a man or a woman, and this narrowing down. The ones we work with are more that'll walk in and say, okay, there's a woman about this age, she's wearing this. And then we can try and investigate and see if it fits, because again, we never know. We're trying to put pieces together, but you never have absolute clarity because it's a different realm. We can't verify it 100%. But we're more impressed by people that can come in. And the other rule is don't feed the medium. Okay, like we give them nothing. Okay,
right.
We're borderline courteous.
You feed them food and cookies.
Yes,
yeah.
But we're like, you go do your thing, and then come back. But like, we don't tell them. Sometimes we don't tell them where we're going, the backstory of the house, no prep time, so that we want to make sure that whatever we get is cold, is true.
That's how it should be, though. That's exactly how I feel it should be. It should be where they don't have any backstory or anything, where they can start hinting off of you and leading you on, that type of thing. So,
and it's the same thing with somebody mentioned tarot reading too. I mean, we have tarot readers at we also have a retail store, metaphysical shop, the separate business, and so we have tarot readers, but we tell them the same thing: don't feed the reader. We don't ask questions ahead of time. There's no questionnaire. You got to be able to walk in cold, and have it be meaningful to something more than something broad. But like Johnny was saying, now he's done it as his act. I've been in sales for 30 years, and I'm kind of the same way. I know how to ask a question to get to yes, and I know how to do that. So I'm very careful when I do things that it's not manipulation. So I don't do a lot of that sort of thing myself, because I don't want to ever lean into what is basically a skill set for entertaining or sales. So
but here's what makes what is so frustrating about that, Stephen, is that we know those techniques and we know how those things are done, and when we recognize it out in the world, and not just in the paranormal world, but anywhere in politics or in society, and we say, hey, this is fake or this is manipulation, and then people don't believe us, and I'm like, I'm the expert.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
this is my area of expertise.
Right.
Please believe me.
Yeah, you're like, you're on your own at that point. Like, I tried to present it to you.
But if you do work with a psychic in your group, you really have to vet them, and see how they work and see kind of what their skills are. Because there's all different clairs. Some are clairaudient, clairvoyant. Psychic is different than medium. So you kind of have to know what their gift is. We have some people that are just like, well, I'm an empath. Okay, that's not a superpower. We all have a degree of empathy. That's not one of the usually recognized clairs, like clairaudience. Empathy is part of it, but I think a lot of people lean to, well, like they've created that as a superpower, as a gift. And I don't know that just being an empath only is enough. So we really want to see kind of like, what can you do?
I'm an empathetic hypochondriac. Does that count?
Really?
Of course.
I guess that would work. I
That's a whole nother show.
Don't tell me your symptoms. I will get them. I will have them.
That's why we don't read WebMD ever. It's like
we can't do a show ever. The empathetic hypochondriac. That needs to be a show.
Is it like the agnostic insomniac dyslexic that would lay awake at night wondering if there was a dog?
No. Nothing like that.
Oh my god.
That could be a show.
That's
though.
me.
Oh my god, that's
So I have a question. There are a lot of people, and especially I see this with younger people who are college age, sometimes high school age, where they decide that they want to be ghost hunters. They want to go and research and investigate the paranormal. And I've always heard to be, well, I'm just going to say, I've always been told all of my life, be careful of what you communicate with because you never know what you're going to bring home with you. Be careful about what you take away from places, what you leave in places, because you can have things attached to you. What do you think about like these young people who are trying to go out and establish themselves in paranormal investigation? Do you ever look at that and just cringe, go, oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
You kind of have the, oh, sweetie, just hold on. No, because it is good, and it's something that's very interesting. And I wonder, like, as a parent, like, can I let my son know I'm okay? You know, can we have this contact after death? But Tanya will tell you, John will tell you, there is hours and hours and days of sitting around where nothing happens. You know, everything on TV is hugely condensed. You know, it's we start with, look, it's ghost fishing. It's not ghost hunting. It's not even a good metaphor.
Not even ghost catching, really.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of people are impatient. You know, microwave popcorn takes too long. And so people want to become a paranormal investigator. And as Tanya says, they want to see the tap dancing ghost, like first time out. And it doesn't work that way. But to your other point, yes. I mean, you have to, we talk about protection going in, whatever your faith path is, whatever you believe, there's some sort of protective, you know, thing or prayer or something that you should do, but you can't just, you know, run around kind of willy-nilly, as you said. And we have had people get attachments. We had someone in our group get one time, and it totally changed him, you know, for, I want to say almost a week. He was all crabby, and people at his work were complaining, and he finally just said, okay, like, I got something, this is a problem. And then we had another person in town that's a ghost hunter, another group, and they got an attachment, and so we can help remove them from people. That's part of what we can help them with. But yeah, you've got to be careful with that. And same thing when you're done, like, do you shut it down? Do you say you can't follow me home? You know, what do you do that's protective? You know, sage yourself, or Palo Santo, or holy water, whatever it is that your faith path that you believe is going to, you know, work for you.
So I have a question for you, Stephen and Tanya. In my experience doing ghost tours and telling ghost stories and whatnot, the people who have experiences with me seem to be the people who are most open to it. Very rarely do we have a skeptic have any kind of encounter or anything happen. Have you seen that to be the true as well for you guys?
I'll throw that to you.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I can answer this in two ways. Yes. Generally, when you have the person that is standing there with their arms crossed and is just kind of have their whole energy blocked off, either they're scared or they're, I don't believe in this. Whether it's on our actual investigations, like our Paranormal 101 schools that we bring people in and investigate, or our tours. However, we have seen like significant activity happen to skeptics. We have one story I think you guys would like, a very condensed version of it. We had a Navy SEAL who came to one of our Paranormal 101 ghost schools, where we gave a little ghost school, and then we separate for a couple hours into 3 groups, and we investigate this big giant mansion, and they get an experience of what it's like to be on Ghost Hunters or whatever, and people love it. And they either love it or hate it when they leave. And one guy brought his daughter, and she was like 16, 17, loved investigating. He was a Navy SEAL. Don't need to say much more about that, because you can imagine he was just a tough guy. And I was in his group, and we had, and he was holding a K2 meter, and we were all gathered around him. And I was just joking about how it was about the time when they had that commercial where the basketball player would run up to people in like the grocery store and knock their cereal out of their hands and say, "Oh, not in my house." Do you remember that commercial?
Yes, I do.
And I was
Vaguely.
like, I said, wouldn't it be kind of funny if like the spirit that was in this hallway, we knew there was kind of a more spirit in the hallway, not angry. We didn't know, just a little more hostile. And said, wouldn't it be funny if he came up and knocked the K2 out of the hand and said, "Ha ha ha, not in my house." And I'm talking 30 seconds later, that K2 popped out of this guy's hand, levitated for like a split second, and then slammed itself on the ground. And the whole group, we were all like, okay. And I reached down and casually picked it up. And I said, do you guys want to leave? Like, are you okay with staying? And he was like, we're leaving now. He was white as a ghost. Stephen was down there when we all reconvened back down in the basement of his house. And Stephen was like, what happened? He walked out, and it took him how long? Another year for him to come back to our ghost schools? Because he was the skeptic, and he had this monumental experience that to this day changed his life. So it can happen either way, but you are right. You are 100% right, John. That most of the time on the tours, it's the empaths or the people that are more open and their energy is more accepted. They're going to have something happen. We don't have people scratched or bitten on our tours, though.
But John, you know, the people, like a lot of times it's the man, and he's in the hostage position. He's got his arms crossed. Yeah. You know, my wife wanted to come here, you know, and he doesn't. Yes, they're not going to experience anything. They're not open to it, and we get that a lot, where you can just kind of almost tell someone that's just. They came in closed off, and they don't even really want to be there, you know. And I think that is.
That's when you turn them over to me.
No.
Yes.
Well, and I didn't tell you this, Stephen. John, you'll appreciate this. Like last night, on one of our tours, we'd love to have all you come that haven't been. Historicalhauntsmemphis.com.
Yes.
We have one spot that we get off. Well, we get off. This was the bus tour. We get off at 3 different spots. One of them, we do a live paranormal investigation outside at this court square, this beautiful fountain. And last night, I had all of our equipment set up, and all of a sudden, nothing's happening. And almost we have something happen at this one spot. We always get communication, and just wasn't happening last night. I'm like, I was a little frustrated, but like he said, it's not ghost catching, and it's not a circus. We can't make them perform for us. And then all of a sudden I looked, and I saw this whole group of people just like, you know, the whole thing that Stephen just said, like all, and I was like, okay, can you guys uncross your arms? Let's play a game. And I basically just said, let's breathe a little bit. Let's not be scared. Let's not be nervous. And once I kind of loosened everybody up and did a little yoga and some dancing, bam, we got activity. So it may not be that they're skeptics as much as they're scared or they're nervous. But man, we were just getting activity left and right. And I was like, see, this is better, guys. It was.
But I'll tell you, I mean, John, you are right, like what I said, but also some of the other, like one of the best places that we did some investigations at for years was a lady that the call was, okay, I don't believe this. This is out of my wheelhouse for spiritual reasons and all these reasons. I don't believe in it. But I know what I saw, or I know what I heard. And it was extensive enough to where it was bothering them being in the home. And every time we get a call, because we started in the tour business because we were investigators, and people would always say, can we come with you? So we found a way to do a portion of that for the public. But the best private ones we get are the people who are like, I don't believe in this, okay, but this happened. And help us come and figure it out. Like, can you find something? But some of the best ones where the people are completely skeptical. It's not in their wheelhouse. They don't believe it, or for whatever reason, but they're still like, I'm not crazy. I don't believe this, but I'm not crazy. And I heard this, or I saw this. So I would rather have an investigation like that than we have other people that are like, well, I get up every morning and, you know, I'm covered in graveyard dirt and the microwave slides across the counter.
Oh my God. And we had that.
That's true.
That is a true story. I forgot about that, Stephen. Graveyard dirt, the whole 9 yards. Like, what?
I am having all kinds of trouble with my headphones here. Sorry about that. But yeah, I would rather have the person who says this is not in my comfort zone versus the person who's may or may not be looking to be on a television show or you know.
My lights in my house just blinked. Okay,
you're haunted.
No, like tonight, it's not me. I had a guest before. I did another podcast before this one by a gentleman, by some of you guys might know as the Funky Werepig, and his studio's haunted. And
I want to know who the Funky Werepig is.
Right, yeah.
Super cool.
Super cool guy. He lives in the no pants zone. So he always jokes about his studio is the no pants zone. So I never know what he's wearing it, but he does have a haunted studio. And so we did this whole thing, and my computer was freaking out. The lights, now they're doing it again. DL just looked over like she saw an apparition. I don't know.
Might have been my kid.
Oh well.
Could have been.
She was
still creepy. Still creepy.
I'm just stuck on the no pants zone studio, and then he's gonna have a haunted experience, and he's gonna freak out and run outside. And hey,
yeah.
I was scared.
He's got no shame in his game.
Now, as the constant entertainer, I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to jump in. Go ahead.
Didn't know me. I'm good.
Not me.
As the constant entertainer, I am the person who, if you do not look like you, because I know ghost hunting, ghost fishing, it's like you're going to have waves where things are going to not happen. And as the skeptic, I'm the person, it's like I always consider myself to be open. I go in with the intent, it's like, I'm going to see something this time. I'm going to experience something and something's going to freak me out. But I have yet to have that experience. Now, I have had other experiences that I think would kind of qualify as supernatural experiences or other things, but I've never had the ghost experience. And what I have found is if I am on a ghost tour or doing a paranormal investigation, Daryl and I did one here in Memphis like years ago, and nobody was getting response. Nobody was getting reaction. So I'm like, okay, well, let me have it. So I start like, did you see that? It's like you start creating, I'm the person who starts creating hysteria, and it's very easy to do. But I mean, I know it kind of takes away from the experience, but it also leaves somebody walking away going, I had an experience. So,
well, that's the difference between the tour business and the entertainment business. I mean, and the investigation business. We wouldn't do that on a real investigation, but on a tour, yeah. So if something can happen, it does spread like that. I mean, it's just the next person goes, I felt that. Oh wait, So, but in a real investigation, sometimes nothing happens. But we gave you the hookup. Get with us. We told you don't mention the place, but there's some incredible stuff that's happened there, and we can get in. So. Can't guarantee it, but it's a place that is pretty, active, regularly active. So, but I was also going to say too that Carl Sagan said one time that absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So just because it doesn't happen that time or you can't see it doesn't mean it's not out there.
Oh no. I mean, I believe that it exists. What I have an issue with is sometimes the way that people say that it manifests. I mean, there's certain things that I believe, and I look at it and I'm like, I don't necessarily think that's evidence of paranormal activity. I'll be the first to say, when it comes to like photography work, one of the things that a lot of people say is a bit of evidence a lot of times are orbs. And I'm like, no, that's not I don't necessarily think that's evidence. I think that is dust in your flash, dust in lens. You have to know the circumstances in which the photo was taken to be able to say that that is paranormal.
That's a perfect example. I mean, we can spend a lot of time on that. But like, if you're in a paranormal group, like you have to decide that. Like we've had that discussion. So for us, that's not evidence. The only way that an orb for us is evidence is if it's moving counter to the airflow, or you see dust and particulates and bits of fiberglass and things with an infrared illuminator. The farther away it gets, the less visible it is. So it's real bright when it's close, and the farther away it gets, it's gone because it's farther away from the light source. But if it maintains the same like lumosity or the same light, like we have a couple where they go down a hall, around a corner, and it looks exactly the same, but it navigates around things. Now that's probably not dust, but just the general stuff blowing by that you see, or a still picture with an orb. We don't count that as evidence because there's really nothing extraordinary that would convince a skeptic. Okay, so it's not evidence if it's not going to convince anybody. And also, Fuji did a huge study on this. Most of it is after the advent of digital cameras. So if you look up, Fuji actually did a paper on it. Because if you go back a long time, early 1900s, with the first Victorian seances and the Fox sisters, it was ectoplasm. People barfing out this. You don't see that anymore. They don't have any orbs. Orbs are a modern thing. There's not a bunch of pictures like that of old days of orbs. It's ecto and different things that could also be camera tricks and things, or real.
They were putting on a show back then. It sounds like that Victorian era. That whole
exactly.
Well, and I think if you look
at bringing back that spiritual movement.
I think if you look at the spiritualism and you look at, because I think I don't think I know. Harry Houdini was very active
Yes.
in disproving spiritual activity during that movement. And one of he actually took on, I think her name was Marjorie, who was one of the most renowned psychics and she displayed a lot of things like ectoplasm and things, spirit horns, and very interesting. But
did you look at that? Take that story with Houdini. His frenemy at the time was Arthur Conan Doyle. So Arthur Conan Doyle actually gave a big endowment for the British Spiritualism Society. And I've been there a couple of times. So you have one friend trying to debunk everything and the other one trying to prove it. Each one had a variety of reasons to do that. But just a few years ago, Emily and I were at the British Spiritualism one, and it's an impressive place. And they were it was like a mediumship class, and the public could come and sit in, and it was not like here. Like the leader of it just said, "Okay, you get up there, Kat. You get up in front of them," and they said, "Okay, read this person." Just cold,
cold read, yeah.
You either got it or you don't got it. And we were watching them like, holy cow. I mean, you got to really believe that you have a gift and want to learn, because they just put you out there. Then they would kind of fill in the blanks along the way, of the little bits you brought out. But it was a very different approach, as it wasn't all like, oh, that's great. Oh yeah. It was like a test. I was uncomfortable watching. I'm like, oh my God, these poor people. But at the end I felt better about it. But at first I thought, wow, just take them right out there in front of 40 or 50 people. But they did it.
That's super cool. Yeah. So I have a question for you. Is there any specific place you haven't been to that's like on your I want to go investigate this list? Like what's your top one?
I would like to go to the Stanley Hotel in Colorado.
Oh yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
We've driven by it. It's got besides The Shining, it has this whole haunted history to it. It's this spectacular old building. It's in a beautiful setting. And I've always wanted to go there. We got to do the Queen Mary one time in California. It was pretty good. I lived out there. Well, as Tanya said, I used to live out there. She did. I don't know. We've done a bunch of good ones, but I would say that. Or something like in Europe. I'd like to do something like really old. Okay.
Go to the Tower of London. Go to the Tower of London.
Been there, but you can't bring a K2 in. They frown upon that.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But I would love to do that. Or a place like that where you're like, okay, this is 1,000 years old. Or just think of the stuff in some of those old castles. There has to be something.
I have a question for you, Stephen. Do you guys find that hotels tend to have more activity than other places?
Haven't done enough to form a strong opinion. I'll be honest with you. We've been to some very haunted ones and some that weren't. So I don't see that as a hot spot necessarily. Myself. Some people do.
Have you done any the tradition? Everyone always on the TV shows goes to like old hospitals or insane asylums or jails and stuff like that.
We went to Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, which is outside Chattanooga. That's an old hospital. It's closed down. It's basically a paranormal stuff. Hold on. All right. Tanya may or not be back on. She said the internet went out in the house. So she may or may not rejoin us.
She really is haunted.
Yeah.
Apparently. Something happened with that little blink.
We miss you, Tanya.
Yes.
Refresh me. Where were we?
Jails. We're in jail.
Jails. Oh, or the hospital. The Old South Pittsburgh Hospital was a good one. There was people, besides the obvious people dying there. There was allegedly a murder. There was allegedly a child molester, a doctor. There's all these legends of the place. So we had some pretty good activity, but the best one is my son was with me that time, who doesn't believe this. He's like, I don't believe this. I'm a man of science and learning and things. And there's cameras all over in the place. And they were walking down. There's probably 20 cameras running at any time that they run besides what you bring. And him and another guy were walking down the hospital hall. So you think of a big hospital door, right? And there's a bucket, like a Home Depot bucket full of partially with cement, holding the door open, right? They're walking down the hall. The door just slams, whoosh, and the bucket goes kind of sliding out into the aisle. My son, the learned man, said, a couple of colorful metaphors and ran like a little girl. He was more brave than that. But it was interesting because he was open to it. He is open to it, but he's not a believer at that time. I don't know if he's changed, but that was, I mean, right in front of you and right behind the skeptic person. It was pretty amazing. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dio.
Oh, no, that's, I can totally relate because I am very open to it, but I'm just, I've had some experiences that I think kind of lean towards it. Actually, one of them was one of the tours that we did with, or one of the investigations that we did with your group. And it was the haunted bed and breakfast Thomas House.
Yeah. Outside Nashville. Yeah.
That was interesting. That had some very unusual activity that I can't explain away in my mind. So I'm just like, I'm like that put me closer, a lot closer.
That was here in Nashville.
Outside Nashville, it's Red Boiling Springs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, the Thomas House has been on a couple of the ghost shows. It's notably haunted for years and years. Several deaths, murders. They have a little chapel across the street where the preacher hung himself. You know, there's all kinds of crazy stuff. It also sits on a bunch of hot springs. And water is a conductor. A lot of people think of energy and psychic things. And it sits on like 5 hot springs, and it's on like the intersection of multiple Native American trails. It's just a sweet spot for something weird to happen, you know, and it has this history. So it's an interesting place.
So I live 5 minutes from there, and I've never been.
Check it out.
So I need to go, don't I?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would go.
Yes.
And they're open to it. They know it. Almost everybody that stays there and goes there is some type of a paranormal person. And it's crazy, John. Like at night, you can lay down like on the ground floor. You can lay on the ground in some of the rooms. You can feel, especially when it's quiet, like in the middle of the night, you can feel the water.
Yes.
Like
in the dining room.
Much stuff. Yes. Did you do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was.
You can kind of feel that. So it just has this weird energetic feeling anyway that occurs naturally because there's like those little micro vibrations and stuff that you're actually feeling some of this stuff. And there's a little girl that died, Sarah, in one of the rooms, and she's very active. I think did you see the flashlights and stuff with her? Yeah.
I did not see the flashlights with her. We actually played. We were in one of the rooms, and it was one of the children's room, and we were playing ball. We had like a ball that we would roll out, and then it would just come back from nowhere. So it was, yeah. We had some of those
that's
things.
Pretty creepy. Okay, you're still a skeptic after that?
Well,
that's
I don't.
Like Stanley Kubrick quality, The Shining. Come on, DL.
Okay, well, wait. With that said, I don't know because there were some spots in the house that I felt like might have been a little bit, because I mean, that can be your flooring. It's an old house. Yeah. So
and it's all settled. So you're right about that.
So Lauren, did you have
hate to be the party. Yeah, I have to be the party pooper. We're 10 past the top of the hour.
We are.
Wow, this was fun.
It was so fast.
I want to buy so fast.
Yeah,
it did.
That just means we need a second show,
episode. I tell you what I would like. Yeah, well, not a second hour tonight, but I think we need a second show. And what I would like to do is maybe coordinate with the Ice Cream Queens to come out and maybe take one of your tours and do something of that nature and see what we can find.
That, or we could either do the private investigation we talked about, or we could do a tour, or we could just go do some cool stuff. I mean, we have access to some different places.
We would love to do that.
Yeah. We love access. I mean,
yeah, we can get into some cool places.
Us there.
So, Stephen, tell us, if people want to come visit you, tell us a little bit about where they can find you and how to get on one of these tours, or
the best way to find us is on the interwebs at historicalhauntsmemphis.com, and it'll talk about all the different tours we have. We have a haunted pub crawl, like John was saying, 2.5 hours. We hit 3 bars. The more you drink, the more you see, of course. That's really entertaining. And the big ending is at Ernestine and Hazel's, so that's super creepy on a good day. The place is scary. We also have the haunted bus tour that goes around Memphis. That one you get the most stuff you can see, the most places, the most stories. We do get out and investigate, as Tanya said, in a place. We have a walking tour that's mainly in the historic part of downtown. And we just started, ghosts are scary. We just started this month a true crime tour. Oh, people are scarier. Now
Yes,
I'm
they
more
are.
afraid of
I'm
people.
sure.
And it is just blown up. We got a news story should be coming out next week on the TV on it. They're doing, and it's been sold out. It's sold out next week already. It's killing it. Killing it.
No pun intended.
Hey,
But
Stephen, what's that website again?
HistoricalHauntsMemphis.com.
All right, I'm going to put that up on the screen.
Please do.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd love to have y'all if you're around. Come be our guest, either a tour. We could do something special together. We could maybe do a show on whatever y'all want.
That sounds super fun.
We'll take a voyage into the great beyond together.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Historical.
That's it. Thank you.
That's
There
it.
it is.
Wonderful.
And Tanya's the tour manager. She can, if you call, she can answer any questions or anything for you too.
And Tanya is a hoot. If you've never been on a tour with Tanya, or I mean, she is a very lively person. And if you are closed off, like she was saying, with the arms closed, and I've seen her tell people, let's relax and so she will coax you into being in a comfortable mindset that will make things possible. So she's great. I love her.
Well, and she bridges the gap. Like, we want people to be entertained, but if they're open to it, if they can have an experience as well and really see something or experience it, or we'll have them ask the questions at the investigation. So we do want to draw everybody in. So anyway, thank you. This was fun.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
this
joining
was
us.
fun.
And
Johnny,
we have.
Thank you for joining us too.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you all, yes.
All of the shows for Johnny to pop on. This was the perfect one.
Oh yeah, it really was.
Yeah,
He's got the call.
And, thank you, DL, for letting me crash your party and help you out in the back office. And it just worked out for me to be here for you. So
obviously, I just want to say again, thank you to Stephen and Tanya. Although she's not with us at the moment, thank you for joining us. This was a lot of fun, and I really would like to have you guys on again. You did mention you do have a physical store, a metaphysical store.
Yes, we also operate the Broom Closet, which is in downtown Memphis at 552 South Main in the Arcade Building. Mm-hmm. So we approach all of this from many different viewpoints, spirituality as well as the paranormal, and the intersection of all these things.
And if for those who might not remember right off the top of their head, Emily has joined us on a past show where we did talk about divine horror, and she was a great guest and just a wealth of knowledge. I love to sit down and pick their brains.
There she is.
She's back. She's back.
She's back. As we were
leaving. Time to say goodbye,
baby.
I'm over it.
But thank you
right
guys.
when I was just talking about it, it was like poof, everything, the whole house exploded. I'm like, I'm done.
You know, they're kicking us off now. They said they've had enough.
Oh, no. We're past the hour. I'm sorry, y'all.
I didn't think I'd make it back on to say goodbye, so I'm glad I did.
We are glad you did too. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. We had a blast. Also want to say thanks to Johnny, not only for joining us tonight, but for hosting the show and hosting the platform, and back at the cereal box. You allow us to come out here and do this. So thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yes,
and
thank you, Johnny.
Of course, I want to say thanks to the Cabana Boy. Although he is having technical difficulties, he did a lot of pre-setup, and he's always helping us out. And thanks to Toy Robot. If you want to sponsor the show, we do have a virtual tip jar, and this keeps us going. So if you want to make a tip for the network, if you want to make a tip for our show specifically, or you want to tip a specific host or hostess, you can do that. There you go. Buy me a coffee, Cereal Box Pod. Now, we do have a show coming up next week, and I thought, or not next week, but wait a minute. Next week is After Dark, which is our Back of the Cereal Box and Cryptid Crunch. We kind of alternate, but there's always that 1/5 Sunday periodically. So we're going to be on next week, which is Halloween night, and we're going to be discussing God only knows what. I think the last time, Lauren, we talked about farts. Everything. We talked about everything on the last show. Everything. So nothing is off the table. We will talk about just about anything. So y'all might want to join in on that little group. And then, of course, on the 14th, we have another Ice Cream Queen show coming up. I don't have the topic squared away as of yet, but it will be fun. It will be adventurous. So anyway, thank you. Good night and pleasant screams.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.